This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome, everybody, to the second Lunch and Learn hosted by Holistic Pros. I am happy to present Bridget Murphy, who is going to get us on our path in connecting with our audience. And I think I'll just leave it at that, Bridget, and let you take the stage.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for your burst of exuberant energy. It's very welcome in my world. So I'm happy to be here. Yeah. And thank you, everybody, whether you're here live or you're watching the recording. Thanks for taking time in your busy day to join us. I feel like this is a really good time. The new year is a really good time to create plans for your business, to refresh, to come up with new ideas, and to maybe even recommit to connecting with the people that you want to be working with. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what we're going to do today. Before we even get started, I'm curious. I don't know anything about y'all yet, and I'm going to be happy to share a little bit about myself. If y'all would type in the chat, what type of work do you do? How do you help people? What modalities do you employ? I'd love to know. Yeah, I'd love to know a little bit about each of you. Yeah. And I love the Wild Heart Yoga. I love the name. Like that just feels so, whew, it just calls me right in. So however you named your business Wild Heart Yoga, it was a good move.
Thank you. Apologies, I'm off camera. I'm eating and
No
I need
worries.
to be available if somebody comes to the door. So
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem at all. Yoga and Wellness Studio. All right. That makes sense. Okay, we've got a remote Reiki practitioner. Oh, I love that you know that you like to focus on the diabetic community. Yes. Awesome, Donna, that's great. And I'm also, and then I'm always so curious. I'm also curious, what aspect of your businesses are you feeling committed to growing this year? Or what do you really want to hone in on, expand, give more energy to in this new year? Sarah, you're funny already. Yes, you got a brand new product for the yoga industry. Okay, cool. You were told that you should focus on rich ladies because it's an expensive, luxurious product. Interesting. Well, I mean, everybody has their market, right? Their niche.
Yeah, I'm kind of kicking and screaming about that, but I think that she might be onto something. It's my crowdfunding coach. She's like, I would buy 5 of these, but I'm a rich lady and you don't want to focus on poor yogis. But I mean, she has a point because my product is $500 and up. So anyway, I'll type the rest of what I was saying.
Yeah, no, oh gosh, like I'd love to talk about that. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Yeah. And what else we have here? So you'd like to find one social media outlet to focus on, Donna? Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I feel like it's helpful to know to have one thing, or at least one thing, to focus on for our business. And so thank you for sharing. Yeah. Hey Beth, welcome. I was just asking folks what modal I'm Bridget, and I was asking folks what modalities they employ and what is one thing that you're working on doing more of or expanding in your business this year. So feel free to type in the chat. And y'all can feel free to type any questions that you have in the chat and I'll catch them. Nice, I like that, Sarah. Okay, so I'd love to share a little bit more about me, find out more about you, and also I want to kind of ground us in together as we begin. I have been on this path a long time, and I have found that I have a good blend of practical and spiritual. So I want to invite us all to ground into this space together. I'm going to lead you in a short visualization where I'm also going to invite you to envision, and you can envision with your mind's eye, your heart, your body, all of the above, what it looks and feels like for you to be fully thriving in your business, fully thriving in your life, and what it looks like to be an active resource for the people that you work with. So go ahead and get comfortable wherever you are. And if it feels good, place one or two hands on your body. Take a deep breath in. Settle into this beautiful body of yours. And connect into the earth in whatever way feels good for you. Taking another deep breath in and allowing the busyness of the morning to gently fall to either side and kind of melt next to you so that you're fully present in the now. And another deep breath in. Welcoming in all of the healing and helping energies that are available to you, for your community and your people. And offering gratitude for all of the energy that moves through us. And go ahead for a moment and allow your imagination to open. Invite your heart to soften. And use your mind, your body, and your heart to envision yourself when you are fully activated and aligned with the work that you came here to do. You might see or feel yourself standing or being in a certain way. You may see or feel or sense energy moving through you. Go ahead and dial in and connect with yourself fully activated, fully resourced, completely sustained by your work. And as you allow your mind and your heart to drift into what that looks and feels like, go ahead and envision you, yourself, as a complete resource for your people. You may see energy moving through you and out your hands. You may see energy coming up through the earth and expanding to you and through you. People and beings that you work with receive through you. And at the same time, you are nourished by what resources are available through you. Take one more breath in and send it into the earth. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And we are ready to begin. Welcome to Pathway to Your People. This is all about how to reach your audience through your email list and or through social media. And I really like to envision what it is that we want to be doing and being. I like to tune in and tap in because I believe that tuning into our ideal self, our aligned self, however you want to term it, creates a relationship with where we want to be. And when there's a relationship, information flows more freely. So I always like to start out envisioning. And I'm glad to be here. I'm Bridget Murphy. My pronouns are she and her. And I am a healer who helps other healers to take their work into the world. I have created a sacred listening method to help people to learn how to listen to their guidance, listen to their bodies, listen to their ancestors. And I've also facilitate soul path programs as well as other offerings that I have out in the world. I help holistic practitioners to share their gifts by transforming their own consciousness so that you can tap into the energy that moves through you and implement tools and strategies for creating a heart aligned business. So that's a little bit about me and what I do. I run a Healers Collective, which is a yearly program where I teach healers how to take their work in the world, get paid for it, and be in a good way with their business. Sonia saw that I was offering the Healers Collective and asked me to come speak with you. So that's how I made it here. I can share more about the Healers Collective at the end of this workshop, and you're welcome to ask any questions you like. I am also a shamanic healer and practitioner and have been for many years, as well as a coach, an interfaith minister. I have a variety of modalities that I employ and have been for a long while. So today I'm here to share with you, to explore with you the hows and the whys of connecting with your people through email or social media. And I want to give you actionable steps to get you moving, to connect with your list or your group or your people in this new year. Sound good? Okay, great. First, I want to ask, when you think about your email list, or a email list if you're building one or don't have one yet, or nurturing an email list, and or social media, what is the first thing that pops into your mind? When you think about social media, reaching your people, email lists, what pops into your mind? If you could type in the chat, I'm interested to know. Yeah, overwhelm, ugh. Wishing I had someone to do it all for me. Oh, it's the truth. Yes, yes. I have 50 people on my list. Do I need a MailChimp? Yes. Yeah. I'm going to say yes to that. I know you might not have been asking me, but I'm going to say yes to that. A lot of work and time. Yeah. This is common. This is a common response that many of us have. And actually, does anybody here have a strategy, or are you employing a strategy for reaching your list, connecting with your list through social media or email? Okay, Sonia, you do. That's awesome. Okay, Wild Heart Yoga, you do. Great. You think you do, Donna. Perfect. That's perfect. I like it. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. No matter where you are with strategy or no strategy, what I'm going to share is going to help you. So it's all good. I just like to get a sense for where people are at. And before we move into talking about directly talking about working with your list and reaching your list, I want to just kind of like talk a little bit about marketing. And I want to acknowledge, as I talk about marketing, that for many people, the response to marketing is, ooh, I don't want to do that. So I want to acknowledge that and recognize that. And I'm a healer by nature. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a serial entrepreneur. I didn't come to this work because I wanted to create a business. I came to this work because I have a gift and I want to share it and I want to be able to get paid for it. And so the idea of marketing used to really make me cringe, and I've never done traditional type things. I have learned how to market in a way that radiates what I offer, and that's what I teach people to do. So I just kind of wanted to just put that out there as my disclaimer to the word marketing. And that being said, I see that there's 3 steps to marketing. And the first one is identifying who your people are and knowing who your audience is. Who is it that you like to work with? Older adults, younger women, people who have chronic illness. There's so many ways to identify your demographic and your audience. Identifying your audience is one piece. And the second part of marketing is becoming a resource for that audience. And we do that by building relationships with them through delivering information and value. And the third piece of marketing is inviting people into your programs. So we identify who we want to work with, we become a resource for them, and build relationships with them through delivering information and value. And then we invite them to work with us or enroll them into the work that we do. So today I want to talk about the second part of this, which is becoming a resource by building relationships with your people through delivering information and value. And even if you're unsure of what information you can share, or you're not really 100% convinced of your own value, taking a step and keeping going with offering information to people will actually help you to understand and refine what you're doing, as well as know your value. If we just sit around and cogitate and worry about what we should or shouldn't be offering, we don't actually gather any information. So anyway, for me, marketing is about offering and the energy that comes through me and inviting people to work with me. Marketing is not about selling. I offer value and I invite people to work with me. And when people see and feel the authenticity that we are, then they naturally want to work with us. And so I have learned some ways to do that that are real and authentic and help people to connect with me. And so I've created a pathway to my people, a pathway for my people, and that's what this is all about. So I know that one of the main things that entrepreneurs and holistic folks want to do is know how to get more clients, right? I mean, I don't think I've ever met anybody who like has no problem and has all the clients that they want or need, you know? Does anybody here have all the clients that they want or need? Right, I know, right? There's always a thing, like that's the thing, right? That I always look at it as healers don't actually need to get any better at the healing. They need to work through all the things so that they can bring more people to them. That's really, I think, the healer's challenge or the helper's challenge. So there's lots of strategies for getting more clients. And when you become a resource for your people, when you look at yourself as a resource, it's a natural next step for people to want to work with you. Now, each of you are already a resource. You already have information, have sessions, have things that you teach. What we want to do is make it more known that you're a resource for your people. People are looking for you, and they need a way to find you. A lot of folks have no idea that you're out there. And it's our job to make sure that folks know that we're out here and that we have something to offer. So sometimes I think that we get stuck in our head and run around the rotary of, I'm not doing it right, or people are not going to be paying, people are not going to want to work with me. Healers have a lot of insecurities. And at the same time that's happening, there are people out there who want to work with you and they need to know about you. So becoming a resource is about helping people to find you. So how do we do that? I have a list of ways that we do that. And I'm going to actually, in a little bit, I have a Google Doc to share if you want a handout to share. That captures a lot of what I'm saying. But helping people to find you is, we do that by consistently showing up. Because when we consistently show up, it builds trust. People realize, oh, this person is a resource. They're not just fly by night. They're actually showing up on a regular basis. So consistently showing up. Also, we help people to find us by being visible. Being visible. Raise your hand if you are totally comfortable being visible. All right. All right. Some of you are, some of you aren't. A lot of folks are not comfortable being visible. And finding out where to be visible is another thing. Thank you for raising your hand, Wild Heart Yoga. People find us by when we're committed to sharing what we know. Are y'all sharing what you know on a regular basis? You are? No, yes, maybe. Okay, all right, fair. It's fair. It's sharing what we know on a regular basis is not, and consistent basis is not always easy to do. Also, people find us when we're offering value, and people also find us when we're aligned with our values. And so one of the things I think that is really important is identifying what your values are and being clear with them in your work, because that helps people who are aligned with your values to be drawn to you. And I didn't really know to do this until I learned to do this. And since I've been doing this, people who do not resonate with me don't stick around. So I could talk a lot about values. I'm not going to go into that right now, but that's important. Knowing your values and being clear on them helps people to find you. Also, learning and practicing the best way to share your message helps people to find you. I experience holistic practitioners and healers to have a message. And the message that you have, even if you're not consciously aware of it right now, the message that you have is delivered through your work. You deliver your message to the world through your work. So learning and practicing the best way to share your message helps to draw people to you, as well as experimenting. We can't expect that we're going to get everything right, even though we shouldn't even talk about right or wrong, but we can't expect that we're going to get everything right all the time. We have to be willing to be imperfect and to experiment. Yeah, I see thanks for nodding your head. Sometimes I do a lot of Zoom, and it's challenging sometimes because on Zoom, everyone's like absorbing information and looking. And as the facilitator, right, we don't know what's happening. So some nodding heads and waving hands are always welcome. Yeah, thank you, Donna. We also help people to find us by offering different programs that people can invest in and learn from. And so I've learned how to become a resource for my people, and I teach it in the Healers Collective. And what I find is that it starts with taking what you know and sharing it out, making sure you're sharing it out to people, even if you're judging it, even if you don't think it's perfect, even if you're insecure about it, doesn't really matter. Sharing it out and talking about what you do in a way that people will understand. When I first started consciously doing healing work, I was in my early 20s, and I didn't really know how to talk about what I was doing. And my explanations tended to be super woo, because I didn't really know how to talk in a practical way about healing work. And I thought that I had to come up with this really spiritual way of explaining things. And I found that no, actually that makes me feel better, but people don't actually connect to the woo explanations. So talking about the work that we do in a way that people can understand is one of the things that is really important. Also, giving people quick, effective tools that lead them into learning about healing, about yoga, about wellness, about Reiki is super impactful. Quick, effective tools. People don't need a 50-minute tutorial, but a 3-minute clip or a quick article that gives them a win is going to be really beneficial for them, and also going to put you in their mind as somebody who's helpful and a resource. And that's part of what we're going to do today. And then also, being a resource, it requires that you give people a place to find you. They need to know where to go to find you. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to do everything. You don't have to have every social media channel covered. Having one place that people can find you is important. And that these are all keys in being resources for your people. When you're actively being a resource, then people are going to start to feel it from you. Is this making sense so far? Okay, great. Yeah, in the beginning of taking my work into the world, and just a little bit about me. So I had been doing healing work for 15 to 20 years when I decided to make it a business. I left about 8 or 9 years ago. About 10 years ago, I left a full-time job in mental health. I was a domestic violence advocate. I was a residential counselor for children and teens in crisis and trauma. So I have a background in mental health, but I wasn't able to take all of what I do and offer it. So I decided to leave the working world and become an entrepreneur. And I didn't know how to promote myself. And I felt really icky to me. And I realized that I needed to get some new skills if I wanted to really sustain myself with my business. So for the last 8 years, I've been studying online marketing, and I wound up creating a Healers Collective to teach what I know. So it's been a process for me. And what I find is that it's not my job to sell. I don't need to push my work on anybody. It is my job to hold the door open. And when people are ready to work with me, to properly welcome them in. So I've learned how to hold a container from beginning to end, from people have never seen me before and it's the first time they're seeing me on social media or on a podcast or something, all the way through to offering a program and enrolling them into that program, whether it's a one-on-one program or a group program. I hold containers that span long periods of time. My one-on-one work is I work with people for 3 months. My group programs are anywhere from 6 months to 9 months. And so I've learned how to hold all of that for people. And I welcome people into the work. And when they come in, I look at it as they are investing in themselves. They're investing with their time and their money. And I'm as invested as they are in the process that I'm leading. And ideally, people would come through word of mouth. It would be great if everything came through word of mouth. I don't know about you all, but the word of mouth thing does not pay the bills. It doesn't, I remember a massage therapist said to me one time, if you're an energy worker or healer, you just need a big Italian family to just promote you. You need the whole family to come. And I was like, well, that sounds great, but there's no big Italian family coming for me. I gotta go out and talk about what I do. So word of mouth is great, and that's one way to do marketing, but it doesn't pay the bills. You have to have some type of a strategy. And I want to talk about why you want to become a resource and build that relationship, because building a relationship with your people is like any other relationship you have. It's like any other relationship. You create it, you nourish it, and it grows. Let me ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not so much and 10 being optimal, the best. How do you, like, what do you feel about, or how's your relationship with your list? With the people that you work with or want to work with, or the people you've gathered? 1 to 10, how's your relationship with them? And you can go ahead and type it in the chat. All right, we got some 7s, a 3, a 4. Yeah. Okay, no problem, Beth. It's all good. This is perfect. Yeah. That's what we're here to do, to create. That's what I'm here to do, to help you to create a relationship with your people. So it's all good. Wherever you are is fine. And there's also like periods in time where energy ebbs and flows. Sometimes I'm super connected with my list, and sometimes like I'm going through some shit, right? And I'm not as connected. And that's just real, right? Like, so it's just real. I like to keep it real and practical. And running a holistic business, especially if you're like solo and you're all on your own, it can be challenging. And can sometimes be no backup if you don't feel well or you're having emotional stuff come up. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think I have a good relationship with my list. I'm probably at a 7 right now. And like last year, maybe it was a 5. It changes. It changes as we go. So when you get in front of people, when you get to be with people, there's a chemistry that happens. And when you have a chance to be in front of people, you can offer them something of value. And when they're receiving value, then they start to trust you and can walk a pathway toward working with you. And sometimes that pathway is long. I have had people who have followed me on social media. One woman, last year, 2 years ago, she entered into one of my programs. And she said, I've been watching you for 2 years. I've been watching your work and observing you. And I can say, like, I feel like I know you and I trust you and I'm ready to work with you. And she went on to do she did a one-on-one program with me, 2 group programs. And she'd been watching me for 2 years. I didn't even know who she was. We have no idea who is watching us and gaining value and learning about us. So there's value in educating folks, offering mini sessions, and supporting people, even if you don't know who you're supporting. Just reading the comment. Yeah, Sonia. Yeah, there's people been following you for 3 years and you're just hearing from them now. It is a long game. It is. It's like every time you put content out or every time you connect or make a move, it's kind of like money in the bank. You're banking your energy for future connections. Yeah. So, and people don't show up knowing your value. It's your job, it's our job to build a bridge for them so that they can cross that bridge to you, and you build a bridge so that they trust you. I think like they call it like the know, like, and trust factor. Has anybody heard that before in business? There's a know, like, and trust factor that's important for people to be able to buy from you or want to work with you. And in order to know you, they have to know you're out there, they need to like you, and they need to know where to find you. And it can take multiple times before people contact you. I think before we started, Sonia was saying that an entrepreneur recently said that it takes 25 pings for somebody to respond. It used to be like 7. I don't know how long y'all have been doing your business, but I remember back in the day where like we hung paper flyers for our business. I mean, maybe some folks are still doing that, but like I feel like that's not always the way. And I remember reading like it takes 7 times for somebody to see you in print or see your flyer, and I thought 7 was a lot, right? Like now it's 25. Yeah, now it's 25. Yeah, to one offer. Exactly, exactly. So we have an opportunity to help people to find us and to get to know us through emails, through social media, through our lives. And it's not just like, hey, I've got a healing service. Hey, look what I do. Come work with me. There's education that's involved. And as you educate them, it builds trust. Yeah. So what I want to do is, so I want to recognize it takes time, and we always want it to go faster than it is. And we can wait for people to come to us, or we can start to radiate ourselves as resources and help them to find us. And so there's a energetic to this, and there's also a logical, practical process. And when you can work energetically and have that meet your logical, practical process, you've got it made because you're working on all levels. And so I want to invite you to start imagining yourself, similar to what we did in the beginning of this call. Imagine yourself fully abundant, fully thriving, and as a resource. One of the ways I visually do that, and you might do it differently, is that I see that there's a light that moves through me, and it opens up and it expands, and it reaches people all around me. And it also feeds me and burns away things I don't need. So seeing yourself and feeling yourself radiating as a resource is the energetic component to what we're going to do practically and logically. And yeah, does everybody, can everyone kind of like tap into that? Yeah, okay, good. I want to brainstorm something in a minute. First, I want to ask you. Oh, you like that, Beth? Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's really helpful. I work a lot with the energy of light. And I just want to say, I'm not talking about positive energy, love and light like that. Like I'm talking about light as a source of fire, as a source of internal inspiration. And light, fire, sun has the ability to burn away what we don't need. It burns away illusions. And it also acts like a drawing salve for who matches us, kind of like a moth to a flame kind of thing. So I work a lot with light in that way. And so what I want to do is, actually, a beacon. Yeah, Donna, exactly. And you feel it as breath. I like that, Beth. That's cool. Yes. I want to know about your lists. I want to ask you, do you have, for those of you who have a list, how many folks do you have on your list? Curious about that. And if you don't have a list, what is your, do you have a way that you connect with people through social media? Right. 50, 500, 800. That's all good. I been following entrepreneurs for a while, and some of them are like, you have to have a large list, grow the list, grow the list. And then I hear other ones that are like, you don't need a large list. You need people who resonate with you. It's better to have a smaller list of people who resonate with you than a large list of everybody and their mother. And that is so, so true. You've got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Great. Or you've got Sonia, you've got 1,700. Yeah, my list is probably about 1,800. I haven't looked at it recently. Probably about the same as you, Sonia. And I actually, every once in a while, go through and refine my list. People have opinions about this, but I'll just say if people haven't opened an email from me in like 6 months, I remove them from the list because I feel like it drags things down. That's just my personal practice. So at any point in time, there might be more or less on my list. MailChimp or Eventbrite. Are you asking, is that a question, Beth? Yeah. I started out with Constant Contact, and now I moved into, then I went to Get Response, and now I work in Kartra because they have a larger platform that allows me to host memberships and stuff. But my understanding is that MailChimp is an email platform and Eventbrite is a event platform. And they may have an integrated email platform in there, but I don't know that Eventbrite would be a place to hold a list or grow a list. If anybody else has info on that, feel free to type it in. Yeah. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to work with you all on coming up with what it is you want to be sharing with your people so that you can have a list and then an action plan for that list of what you want to talk about, what you want to offer, what you want to share as part of being a resource for your people. So I'm going to ask you to get out a journal or paper or whatever you would use to write things down. And I want to ask you to brainstorm, no judgment, just write a list of all the different things that you could talk about, share about, teach about, the things you know about. Whether you're 100% confident and comfortable with those things or just a little bit confident and comfortable. This is an energy moving process that I want you to do without judgment. So, does anybody need ideas, or do you feel like you can run with it? Looks like some of you are already running with it. Okay, good. I'm going to time you for 5 minutes, then I'll check in. I want you to make write down as many things as you possibly can that you can talk about, teach about, share, write about, personal experiences, anything that's particular to you, modality or your teaching style. I'm going to do 5 minutes. And we'll see if you need more time.
Bridget, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So a lot of what I work, I want to work specifically with women, and so there's a lot of really, really great information that is really specific to women and women's experiences. So on social, I have both women and men that have 50 likes because I just set up my page or whatnot. But I don't know, those are people I know personally. Those are people I know from high school, and so to me, I'm wondering, I also have a private Facebook group that's just women called One Love Sister Circle. And I really haven't posted much in it. I just post for my new moon live calls. So I haven't been in there a whole lot and done a whole lot, but I guess I'm wondering where, can I talk to women? I mean, this is the question for me too, but can I talk to women specifically on a mixed platform and talk about those personal things and put them out there? Or is that just too, you know what I mean? So I'm just not sure.
And yes, you can. And try not to go too far ahead, because what I'd like for you to do right now is just make a list of what you will say, what you do want to talk about. Don't worry about who you're talking to right in this moment.
Okay.
Just brainstorm a list of pieces of information that help people. Like, for instance, for me, I talk about how the body can heal itself. I talk about detoxing the body. When I'm talking about shamanic practices, I'm a shamanic practitioner, I talk about power retrieval. I talk about ways we can lose power. I talk about trauma. So different pieces of information that are relevant to me and the way that I work that I can talk about. That's what I would like you to make a list for. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right, we're going to continue. We're going to take two. I see you're still writing. Let's take 2 more minutes and keep writing those lists. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right. Oh, my crickets. Okay. So we can pause here. And how did that go? It looks like everybody was really writing stuff. So ideas are flowing, energy is flowing. This is awesome. So I would encourage you after this workshop to keep adding to that list. And what we're going to do next is pick 2 of those topics that feel easy, that feel like you could talk about them, share about them with your eyes closed, and you like to talk about them. And circle those. And you may have more, and that's great. I'm just asking for 1 or 2. And then just give me a little wave or an emoji or something when you're there. Okay, great. So what I wanna do with those 2 topics is I wanna like really get into it and break it down and create a short outline for what it would look like to share about that topic. And it might be that you're going to write a short article about it that you post on your website, or you send out to your email list, or you post on social media. It might be that you look at that topic and you're like, there's a lot of information here. I could deliver it in 3 steps, or in 3 segments, or in 3 posts. It might be that there are multiple ways that you could share the information. What I want you to do is, whatever your choice is, take those 2 topics, start with 1, take those 2 topics and write out how you would deliver the information to people. And remember, a little bit dripped over time is more powerful than a big thing that nobody's going to read. So chances are that each topic you have probably a good amount to share about it. So think about breaking it down into smaller pieces and making a little bit of an outline for how you would deliver it. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions? Yes, I can give an example. Thank you, Sonia. So I talk a lot about and share with healers about amplifying their ability to hold space. And I find that I have so much information about that I break it down into 3 sessions or 3 segments. And the first segment is about the space that they hold within themselves. And I give them ideas on how to hold space for themselves internally. And then I talk about the physical space that they're holding in their healing studio or their healing space. And then I talk about the holding the space for a client over a period of time. So I take the topic of how to amplify your ability to hold space, and I get very specific as to which areas they're going to need to, or they're going to be holding space in, and I give them examples for what they can do to amplify their ability to hold space. That's one example. Also, like I have done talks on Reiki practice and how it helps to build your immune system. And so I will do that often in one segment and give them a couple of key points that are important to know about Reiki and building the immune system. So those are some examples. Is that helpful? Okay. You're welcome. And when you have a little bit of a plan there, just let me know, give a wave or, yeah. Okay. So when you look at that outline, What comes up for you? How does it feel? And you can come off mute if you want to say something.
I'm like so ready to do this. I just want to do it. I want to like create it.
I love that. That's yay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks
Great.
for the prompts. They were really good.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Anybody else have a thought or a comment or anything you want to share as we do this?
Yeah, I have a question / fear.
Bring it on.
So my driving force, I also an interfaith minister, also, sacred facilitator. And really my biggest driving embodiment is all life is sacred. I mean, it really, more than anything, I can always distill it down to that, and so it creates for me, you talk about the woo-woo and you talked about the practical. And the thing is that for me, the practical is woo-woo. And so in everything that I do, I end up wanting to say that. So everything becomes the sacred this and the sacred that. And so when I start doing my outline, I was thinking about the way that I pray with my Celtic, English, Scottish ancestors, and using the wheel and teaching the wheel to people, and that just it's so layered, and those cycles, because I'm so much about us being our power as women being connected to the cycles of the earth and cosmos. And so I guess my question / fear is putting that out there on social media, and will that alienate people, or will most people not respond to it, and maybe that doesn't matter, maybe I put it out anyway, but yeah. And maybe that's just me, Scorpio, I go deep, I go that's but that's the transformative work that I do with people too, and that's the work I'm interested in doing, is having us as women connect to our womb power and our sacred divinity. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I say that it's helpful if y'all are teaching workshops or have led programs to take bits of those programs or workshops and deliver them to your groups, to your list, to your social media. If you already have a curriculum that you work, take pieces of it and share it. And for you specifically, Beth, I'm thinking, well, so in my mind, I just created it for you.
Thank
So
you.
I'm thinking,
Thank you.
okay, so first what we need to do is an overview of the wheel and why we need to pay attention to it. Boom. And then we're going to break it up into 6 segments or 12 segments.
Wait a minute, I can't write this fast and I don't think that way. So hold on. Unless you're going to do it for me, you got to slow it down.
Well, I'm just saying, I think this is I would say, yes, do it. Of course, your fears are going to come up. That's normal. That's natural. And it's helpful to look at this as an experiment. It's an experiment. When we put content out, we are experimenting with how people receive it. And when we do experiments, we gather data, we refine, and we keep going. So if your heart is aligned with the information you're sharing, you need to share it. That's what I think.
So would you mind, not to tie everybody up, but if you could just say those things again, like how you see it, because this is kind of where
Yeah.
It's
First, you
challenging
do
for
an
me.
overview. First, you do an overview of the wheel and why people need to pay attention. We always want to talk about why people need to pay attention. How is it going to benefit them? Because we could wax on poetic about how spiritual it is, but people want to know, why do we need to pay attention to this? So here's the wheel. Here's how I experience it. Here's why I need to pay attention. And then break it up into multiple segments. And I don't know, and I'm not going to go too deep into this. If you're talking about if you're talking about the medicine wheel in 4 quarters, which is then broken into pieces, or if you're talking about the 8-wheel calendar year in the Celtic tradition, whatever it is, take 4 or 8 and do little segments on them. Yeah.
And maybe to coincide with the calendar.
Yeah, but don't go too No, actually, don't do that.
Why?
Because that what I want you to do is actually deliver content in the next 2 months.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you want to plan a larger thing and release things at the times of the wheel of the year, great. But I want you to have something that you can pop out so that you're a resource now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions? Donna, you want to come on and tell me what's happening? I see the face.
Uh, like I don't know. I just don't know. So, because I I'm would love I love it, where I'm working now. I work with people who have diabetes, and I'm also diabetic. So I've been trying to somehow marry the two together, Reiki and diabetes together. But the thing is that the company that I'm working with is probably going defunct any minute now. I don't know how I want to do this. I don't know if I want. I'm very unclear still.
Okay.
So I don't. At this point, the only thing I've done Reiki for literally anything you could ever imagine, anywhere from sleep patterns to postpartum to fertility to grief to, I mean, I've done everything. Like, I don't really know what to pinpoint. I know I could, by my own experience, I know I could say Reiki will help with diabetes, burnout, and this, and this. I could probably do that. But I don't know if I want to just strictly do that. I kind of don't want to call the word pigeonhole, but I just want to be accessible to anybody. So it's why I don't quite know what my.
So you're getting too far ahead of yourself.
I know. So
Putting
that's
way
fair.
too much pressure on yourself. And this is what happens. This is what we do. So it's okay. You don't need to worry about that. I'm going to invite you to take your framework outside of the establishment you work for, because you're not promoting them. If you're sharing information about Reiki in your experience, you're talking about Reiki in your experience. So pull that, don't even worry about them, and speak to your experience with Reiki. Your experience with Reiki. How Reiki helps to move energy. What you've seen in clients with diabetes, including yourself, with Reiki practice. Share those types of pieces of information. Yeah. And also, I put a document in the chat here. The way that I like to do handouts is like I talk and then I give you the handout and you can kind of like take what you need from it. I don't like go bit by bit over the handout. There's some ideas in there for topics, and there's a little bit more of a breakdown of what I'm talking about. But I lost my train of thought for a minute. Hold on one second. Finding one or two pieces that you want to share about and starting there. That's what we're doing. I don't want this to be perfect. I'm not asking for it to be perfect. We're starting to move energy. And whenever we start to move energy, like stuff comes up like, oh no, don't do that. You're not going to do it right. You need to make sure you know your audience. And you can get caught up in that wheel and not do anything. And I'm asking you all to take a risk, to do it imperfectly, to not know what you're doing, to make mistakes, and remember that this is about sharing what you know and being a resource for people. There is really powerful information for people to get from you. And specifically with Reiki practice, I'm a Reiki practitioner too. And learning how to talk about the results that Reiki brings will bring people into it. So talk about the results that you have seen. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any other questions or thoughts around this, around your outline?
This is just about Donna's comments. I just want to say, Donna, that it took me a long time to decide that I was really just going to focus on women, as opposed to, sorry, my video's not on, as opposed to a whole segment. It sounds a little bit like you're also in the midst of an evolution. Not that it won't be good to jump out there and do some things, but I also encourage you to ride that, because it feels like a lot of things will come together for you in a way that will be more clear as you go down the road. But that's not to undermine the fact that it's really helpful for us to like start putting out what we know now. So yeah.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you. Yeah, and putting out what you know helps to determine the next pieces of information that you need to put out. It gives you information. You can, if you're making a video or writing a blog and it feels good, that's information. If you just think about it, you're not getting any information. You're just turning around, round and round in your head. So next step here is, what platform do you want to share this information on? And for any of you who don't really do social, you may be giving talks at the local library. I want to include that as a platform as well. What one platform can you commit to, or do you want to commit to releasing and sharing information on? You can type it into the chat and let me know. Because sometimes I find that people want to be everywhere all the time, and it just doesn't. You have to just let yourself have one spot where you release information. I know for me, I am at the point in my business where I have an online manager and an assistant, and they help me to take the information that I share and deliver it in other places. And I'm only on all these social media platforms because I have help, and not necessarily because I want to be, right? I have help with it. Starting one place. Facebook was my place for a long time. And as I grow and evolve, I go into different social media platforms. Okay. Instagram is good for you, Donna. Facebook is good for you, Beth. Yeah, perfect. You want to do email, Wild Heart Yoga. Okay. That's great. Good. Okay, cool. So you know where you want to deliver the information. YouTube's becoming your favorite. Yeah, if you like video, YouTube is great. Yeah. Okay, so creating these offerings has three purposes. One, you get to practice talking about what you do. Two, you offer value and you're becoming a resource. And three, you're building a bridge for people to know and trust you and want to pay to learn with you. So this is all going towards your work. Yeah. TikTok is interesting. Yes, TikTok is interesting. We could have a whole social media session. Yeah. All right. So what I want to do next is I want to actually get down to the nitty gritty and make sure that you have a plan for releasing and sharing this information that helps you to be for a resource. So I want to invite you to get out your calendar, and we're just going to start with the first topic that you want to share about. So if the topic you want to share about has multiple segments to it, I want you to take let's say it's going to be done in 4 segments. Look in your calendar and go into, depends on how fast you work, Sarah, you probably already have this figured out. You can go into January or February. February might be more reasonable, and pick 4 dates that you want to release the information that you're going to create. If you have a single piece of content, if you want to write a blog or an article, I actually still want you to pick 4 dates that you want to release those pieces of information. So either you're breaking it up into multiple segments or you're picking multiple topics. And go into your calendar. It could be twice a week for 2 weeks. It could be weekly for 4 weeks. Put a date on when you want to release it or publish it. And don't worry about scheduling. Don't worry about doing things too often. Half the time people don't see stuff. So posting again or posting close together is absolutely fine. We have this thing sometimes like, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to post too much. I don't want to look like I'm, and that's just that doesn't even exist really. Can't tell you how many I promote, like I talk about things a lot. I feel like I'm talking about it a lot. And people are like, oh, registration closed? I didn't even know you were doing that. So you can't talk about it too much. Yeah. What are the best and Yeah. So everybody is, Wild Heart Yoga is asking about the best dates and times when people read email. Do we know this? I think it really depends. I send a weekly newsletter out on Fridays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's when I do it. And that is arbitrary almost because I have other things I released at other times and I didn't want to have it compete. Myra, my assistant, scheduled something on Saturday mornings and it got a much bigger open rate. So we started to send it out on Saturday mornings. It really depends. And this is for everybody. Don't let that stop you. You have to kind of like plug and play and just go. So the short of it is, Wild Heart, that I don't have that information for you, and I really think it varies based on your audience and how they engage with email. Some people are on social media much more than email. A lot of people don't even open their emails, so it really does depend. I tend to, this is me, like to send things earlier in the day before people are bombarded, or later in the day when their work day is over and they have more space. Yeah. You're welcome. Beth likes Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Great. Okay, so raise your hand when you have when you're going to put it out there down. Yeah, exactly. Do experiments with it. Yeah. All right, Jen is Wild Heart. Okay, I just got that. Great. I don't know. I kind of like calling you Wild Heart.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I like it. Okay, so you've got a date down on your calendar? All right. After this workshop, I want to invite you to take the other top 3 things you want to talk about or share about and put those in your calendar. For right now, the segments the segments that you just put in your calendar, what I want you to do next is, if you're somebody who likes to pre-announce things, if you like to let your people know, I'm going to be sending you, or I'm going to be posting about diabetes and Reiki on Tuesday. If you like to pre-announce things, put in your calendar when you're going to let people know you're doing it. Whether it's a day before, 3 days before, pencil it in. If you're somebody who likes to pre-announce. Me, I send an email out on Fridays. I don't pre-announce that. If you're just starting getting things rolling, or if there's something special you really want people to pay attention to, pre-announcing can be good. You want to put that in your calendar. And now I want you to pencil in for each of those segments that you're going to share, pencil in an hour into your calendar to prep for that. Whether that is writing the blog article or creating the videos or doing whatever it is you need to do to prep, practicing your singing and your dancing, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever you need to do to prep, put that in your calendar about a week before you're going to share, release, send, or whatever. Yeah. Because that's how we get it done. And the last piece of moving energy in this way and becoming a resource for your people and sharing content that they find valuable is you have to commit to it. Even if you don't want to, even if you're stressed out, even if you're tired, even if it's not perfect, you have to commit to it. This is how you become a resource. The water flows all the time, not just sometimes. Water is a resource. If we're going to be a resource, we need to flow on a regular basis to the best of our ability. So, committing and recognizing that if you have anxiety about what you're going to share, you're going to try to talk yourself out of this. You're going to be like, I don't have time. I'll do it later. I didn't get it perfect. I need more information. I'm too stressed out. Push through it and do it anyway. I don't feel like it is not good enough. It just isn't. You have to push through and make it happen. Of course, if like you have the flu or something like huge happens, don't push through that. But all the other stuff that comes up, you need to push through because you need the data that these posts and this information are going to bring so that you can go to the next step. One step activates the next step. And
Can I add something?
yeah, sure.
Okay, since we're all women here, yeah. So in knowing myself and knowing that sometimes I need to rest and I'm not as on game as other times because I want to go in, and my immune system is lower. So knowing that about my cycle, I'm scheduling things around that time. So this is a way that we can support ourselves as we go, as opposed to the masculine way we all learned.
Yeah, finding what your rhythm is and honoring that rhythm is important. Some people don't even realize that about themselves. So I value that, and I think that that's a great idea. And it's easy to come up with a calendar around your cycle and your schedule if you already know it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and in general, on the new moons, we tend to have less energy than when we're, when the moon is fuller. So that's a way to look at it or feel it too.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like you know yourself and can work your schedule around what works for you.
At 60 years old, I'm learning. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. I love it. Hey, it takes us a while.
I'd like to teach the girls so that they know a little younger.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so one thing I just wanted to pop in, and this could be a whole nother topic. It's in your handout. It's when you're working to share information and you have an outline and you're sharing the thing, whether it's live, recorded, or you're writing a blog, recognizing that everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that it's helpful to say hello, intro yourself, tell people what you're going to do, and then do it, and then recap what you covered, thank them, and then give them a call to action. For every piece of information that you put out, invite them to do something. And there's examples on the handout that I gave you. And a call to action would be, hey, if you're interested in working with me, book a consult, or share my content. If you like this, share, or leave me a comment, subscribe to my page, get on my mailing list, join my free group. Give them information and then give them a call to action. One call to action. If you give people too many choices, they make no choice at all. So that's just a little bloop there to help you in holding what it is you're holding for people. Yeah. All right.
I know this is probably going to sound dumb, but Instagram stories versus posts versus what else is there? Video, maybe? So
What's your
when do
question?
you use what? When to use what for what?
Yeah, I think that probably goes into like a whole nother dialogue about social media. What I would say is do them as posts. if you know how to do stories and all of that, then do it. But if not, just post them as posts and you can figure it out the rest later. Yeah. Yeah. So you've got a list of topics you can talk about. You've got dates in your calendar for when you can share. You've got dates in your calendar for when you can prep. And you just need to commit to doing it. That's your next step. All right. Raise your hand if you can commit to this. All right. Awesome. Cool. So just all right. Yes, Jen. Jen. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Being able to have information set up and then sharing it on a regular basis allows you to be a resource for your people. And also, accountability is my last suggestion here. It's really helpful, and you might want to, within your group, pair up and check in weekly to share progress with one another. I know if I'm said I'm going to do something and I'm meeting with Sarah in a week, like I'm going to do it because I'm going to have to tell her I didn't, right? And so pairing up and being accountability buddies is helpful. And also it can help, you can push each other through stuff and get new ideas if you have an accountability buddy. So I just wanted to put that in there. Yeah. So recap. We talked about the hows and whys of creating a relationship with your audience through email and social media. We also, you have an actionable step and strategy for delivering information that allows you to become a resource. And you've created a simple way to connect with people starting in this new year. So you've got something to work with here, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to be able to cultivate that resource for people. We need all of us doing this work and sharing this work. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Bridget. That was marvelous. I'll be sure to include all of your information in the recap email that goes out.
Awesome. Yeah, and feel free to share the handouts. That is great. If anybody has any questions, we have a couple of minutes left. One of the things that I love to do is help healers be confident to take their work into the world. So I have a Healers Collective that is starting in January, where it's start to finish how to create a sustainable business or expand the business that you have so that you can really bring your work fully into the world. If anybody is interested, I'm happy to share more information with you and yeah, answer any questions. I do free exploratory sessions for people who are interested.
Can you put a link to that in the chat for everybody who's here?
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
sure.
we'll include it in the email that I send out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I put the link for the program and the link for the exploratory session. I have a full outline of what we do. If anybody's interested, you can contact me and I can send you the outline. It's a 6-month program. I teach live. We create pilot programs, and I help people move from single sessions into multiple sessions so that you don't have to work as hard and you can go deeper with your clients. So, yeah, happy to talk more about it. And I'm wondering if anybody has questions here and now. Yeah, Beth.
Yeah, I was interested. I came in a couple of minutes late and you were already speaking about wealthy women. and I'm very interested in how we can make it accessible to everyone. So how do you deal with that in your business? Do you approach that? I don't know. I want to have a high end, a middle end, and a
Yep.
I think, or yeah, and something, and some kind of scholarship or some way of funding people that can't afford it so that they can also do things that they need. So
Yeah, totally. That absolutely makes sense. And it's helpful to create like a couple of different offerings. And you can create the offerings till the cows come home. You need to be able to enroll people into your higher level offerings if you want to bring in the funds to fund the lower end clients. So that is really, really important. Yeah, that's super important. So yes to all of it, and coming up with a plan for what that looks like is really, really helpful. Yeah, that's part of what I do in the Healers Collective. Yeah.
how do you, I'm curious how you do that in your own business?
How I create programs?
No, do you have that tiered, do you have those different levels, or how do you do
I
that
do
in
have
your own?
different levels. I have one-on-one work that I do, like I do high level one-on-one coaching and transformational healing work. And so those are priced. The investment for them that's like a top investment, right? And for anybody who does this kind of work, one-on-one work is is very valued in the coaching industry. And so it tends to be that those offerings are high end. Group programs, depending on the group program, are priced differently and maybe a little bit less than one-on-one work depending on the group program. And then there are ways to do smaller group programs, memberships, and then free offerings. Yeah, there's and I've done all of it. I ran a membership program for years, and then I was like, I'm not feeling this anymore. So I moved into doing another program. Yeah, I feel like I could talk a lot about that. And the short answer is yes, I have different programs. And I also, because I'm sustained in the larger programs, I work with folks. There are some folks who have minimal resources. And there is a difference, everybody, between having no money and choosing to pay for something. Because there are a lot of people who choose and prioritize their money in different ways. And that's an important to note the difference. For people who really don't have money and are really struggling, I work with them on an individual basis. And I make sure that I feel good about the exchange. But I cannot do that for everybody. I would be living on the streets. Yeah. Any other questions?
No.
All right. Thank you all. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to reach out. I know Sonia will send out the information with a replay, and I look forward to, I'd love to know how it goes after you make posts and share your information and your topics. Yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much. This was wonderful. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your wealth of knowledge and helping all of us to clarify our path to our audience and figuring out ways to talk to them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I love to be here with you all. You're a great group. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Have a great afternoon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.